Top Democrats are using words like betrayal and surrender to describe the recent legislative maneuvers from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Some even calling to remove him from his post for signing off on a spending plan to keep the government open. Many Democrats wanted him to dig in and fight the incoming Trump administration harder. Kristen Welker, host and moderator of Meet the Press, joining us now. Kristen, good to have you with us.
Hey, Mark, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I understand you just interviewed Chuck Schumer. Did you get the sense in your interview that he's a man fighting for his job?
Mark, I did, and I have to tell you that Leader Schumer is defiant. I asked him repeatedly if he has plans to step down, if he's feeling the heat, if the pressure is getting to him. The answer is no. He says he's staying where he is. He believes he's the best person to leave the Democrats in the Senate at this time, and he believes he made the best decision. He says, look, he was facing two bad options, but he says if the government had closed down, that would have been bad for the country. It would have backfired on Democrats politically. But here's the question, Mark. Is he the right person moving forward? And what does the strategy look like moving forward? Democrats say they need to rip up the old playbook. This is a new moment, and it requires a new strategy to fight this fight in the second Trump term. What we saw this week is a number of other Democrats really trying to step into that leadership space, including Senator Bernie Sanders, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're crisscrossing the country, holding rallies, warning of what they say is an emerging oligarchy in this country. The question is that the message that Democrats want to hear? Is that a winning strategy? We'll have to see how this all plays out. But if you look at the polls right now, our latest NBC News poll has Democrats at their lowest approval rating in history, Mark. So this is a moment of reckoning for the Democratic Party, a party in search of a leader, a strategy, and a message. We're going to talk exclusively to Leader Schumer about all of this.
And then a lingering hangover question about generational change after the Joe Biden transition to Kamala Harris. We heard from Minority Whip Dick Durbin, Schumer's number 2 guy, who's sticking with Chuck Schumer, defending his decision when he visited the Metro East near St. Louis this week. Durbin told us that flirting with a government shutdown would have given the Trump administration and DOJ free rein to slash federal jobs at a much faster rate outside of the ongoing normal court process. Both Schumer and Durbin seem to think that shutting down the government wouldn't actually prevent cuts, but would expedite them, playing right into Trump's hands. Do you see any signs that would indicate that that logic or that reasoning, at least in this fight between the White House and Congress, is taking hold among Democrats on the Hill?
It's a great question. Look, they are trying to make that argument, and they're saying if the government had shut down, it would have given President Trump and Elon Musk a roadmap for who are essential and non-essential government employees, and that would have made it easier to keep the government shut down for a matter of months. So that is the argument that Leader Schumer is making. The divide that you're seeing, and you point to it, is to some extent generational. We are seeing some of the younger Democrats in the Senate really saying that this was not the right strategy, that Leader Schumer needed to fight harder. And then you go to that question, are we seeing a repeat of what happened with President Joe Biden? I have to tell you, at this point, it doesn't feel like the same type of groundswell of opposition. We are starting to see it bubble up. But what we saw with former President Joe Biden really was an avalanche of calls for him to go. Nonetheless, I did press Leader Schumer. I asked him if he runs the risk of making the same mistake that President Biden did.
The question is, do we play within the rules that we've always known, the traditions and the norms, or do we try to, fight fire with fire? That's the question that Democrats are asking themselves. One test of that question is this ongoing clash between the executive and the judiciary. Of course, presidents haven't always agreed with the courts, but the tension that we're seeing between this White House and the judiciary has Donald Trump and Elon Musk calling to impeach judges. Department of Justice lawyers are outright refusing to answer judges' questions in court. And the president's border czar said this week, quote, "We are not stopping. I don't care what the judges think." What options or what recourse do judges have in scenarios like these?
Well, they could always hold the president, his allies, those who would make those statements in contempt. You're absolutely right. But the question is, what happens now? We saw the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court weigh in, saying that it is not appropriate to talk about impeaching federal judges, that is not the way to resolve legal disputes. So I put this very question to Leader Schumer. Does he believe that the country is already in a constitutional crisis, as some legal scholars have said that the country is. And he said yes. And I think that gets to part of the question you're asking, which is we are seeing, and I did see in that interview, an attempt by Leader Schumer to have some of the fire and fury that some Democrats are asking for in these fights. I thought it was a notable moment, and we'll bring it to folks on Sunday.
All right, we'll be tuning in. Kristen Welker, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Great to be with you.